All right, I can find the x and y intercepts of an equation. It may be a good idea for you to pause this and write down this information before you listen to the explanation. So an x-intercept is a place where it crosses the x-axis, and we always write that as a point. It's a number, comma, 0. And our example here, it crosses the x-axis here, and a non-example would be any other point that doesn't cross that x-axis. Notice that these both have the same numbers, but it is important that we write the x-intercept with the number first and then 0. The y-intercept is kind of the exact opposite. It's the point where it crosses the y-axis. And we write the example, or we write the y-intercept as 0, comma, and then whatever number it crosses at. Don't get those confused, the x and y-intercept. Okay? Again, you might want to pause it if you don't already have it written down. But let's find the x and y-intercept, and then we're going to use that information to graph the equation. So to find the x-intercept, you will always plug in 0 for y. So whenever you're finding an intercept, you plug in 0 for the opposite variable that you're trying to find. So in this case, I'm trying to find the x-intercept. So that means I have negative 2x plus, and I'm plugging 0 in for y. Negative 2x plus 0, still just negative 2x, equals 4. Divide by negative 2 on both sides. And I get that, hey, x is actually equal to negative 2. That means that the x-intercept is at negative 2, 0. Do not write your x-intercept like this. It's not going to be accepted. The x-intercept is a point, so we write it as a point. If you just tell me x equals negative 2, that's actually a line, a vertical line that goes through negative 2. And that's not what we want. So writing it as a point. The y-intercept will be found by putting 0 in for x. So I have negative 2 times 0 plus y equals 4. Well, negative 2 times 0 is just 0. So I have y equals 4. That means that my y-intercept is 0, comma, 4. Now, you may have seen, or I'm going to show you anyway, a shortcut to that and having to write it out, but I still encourage you, you need to at least show me kind of down to here, is when I'm trying to find the x-intercept, I can put my finger over the y term. So negative 2x equals 4. That just saves you this step of having to write the 0 in, or this step here. Put 0 in for x, that means I'm going to put my finger over the x term, and I have y equals 4. A little bit of a time save, but remember, in order to get credit for anything in this class, you always have to show your work. So if you only write down that x equals negative 2, and negative 2, 0 is your answer, I cannot give you full credit for that. You have to show me at least a little bit of how you got it. So negative 2x equals 4. And then you can give me the x equals negative 2. Let's plot these so we can use them to graph. So we have negative 2, 0, negative 2, 0. And then our y-intercept was at 0, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You should always get 2 separate points when you're plotting with intercepts to graph. One of the most common mistakes that we see is people forget to write them as points, and they all of a sudden make their own point at negative 2, 4. And that doesn't work. It doesn't even go through that point. So connect the dots, grab your ruler, or if you're doing this on formative, use your line tool, draw a straight line all the way through, ending in arrows on both ends. Let's do another one. So for the x-intercept, we're putting 0 in for y. So 2x minus 3 times 0 plus 8. So I've got 2x plus 8 equals 0, and we can solve from there. Subtract 8 from both sides. Divide by 2 on both sides. And x equals a grand total of negative 4. So my x-intercept has to be negative 4, 0. For the y-intercept, you plug 0 in for x. So I have 2 times 0 minus 3y plus 8 equals 0. Really just leaves me with a nice simple equation of 3y plus 8 equals 0. And I can solve from there. Subtract 8 from both sides. Negative 3y equals negative 8. Divide by 3, negative 3 in fact. So y is equal to positive 8/3, which is like 2.6 repeating. But remember, we're going to write it as a fraction, 0, 8/3. And the 2.6 is what we would use for when we are graphing. When I go to plot this point, I got 0 and 1, 2.6. But for actually writing the answer, please give me the fraction. Then the x-intercept, 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 4, 0. And we'll connect those dots with a nice straight line. And arrows on the end. Make sure your line goes all the way across. Please don't just draw the line right here and put arrows all the way across. Two more. And I will set you free. X-intercept. We have 0 in for y. So 3x plus 5 times 0 equals 15. 3x equals 15. So if you're using the finger trick here, you're going to put your finger over the y and you're left with 3x equals 15. It just skips one step. So divide by 3 on both sides, and x is equal to 5. And that means 5, 0 is my intercept. Y-intercept, put 0 in for x. Three times 0 plus 5y equals 15, which really just means that 5y equals 15. Divide by 5. So y equals 3, which means my y-intercept is at 0, 3. Graphing it becomes really easy. I'm just going to plot those 2 points. And connect the dots. Let's do one more. For the x-intercept, we put 0 in for y. So 4x minus 3 times 0 plus 12. 4x. 3 times 0 is just 0, so 4x plus 12 is what I'm left with. Subtract 12 from both sides. Divide by 4. So x is equal to negative 3, which means my x-intercept is negative 3, 0. Y-intercept puts 0 in for x. You gotta be tired of me saying this over and over. But I just want to make sure that you remember it. So 4 times 0 minus 3y plus 12 equals 0. 4 times 0 is 0, so I just have negative 3y plus 12 equals 0. Subtract your 12 from both sides. Divide by negative 3. So that y equals positive 4. 0, 4. Plot that point. 1, 2, 3, 4. Plot your x-intercept. 1, 2, 3. Connect your dots. Go ahead and get started on your assignment.